There we go. There we go. How's everyone doing today? Let's go. Let's go. All right. We have quite a few things to cover today. We have quite a few things. So we're going to get right into it. I'm also a little late. Yeah, I'm a little late. Okay, so let's get into the first thing. And you know what? We gotta wait for just a little bit longer because we got some juicy stuff coming right up on the news. We have a little bit of drama. How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? Oh, you know what? Oh, son of a gun. Let me update our titles. All right. There we go. Titles updated. Titles fixed. Here we go. You know what? We're going to get going, even though people haven't quite filtered in yet. We're live. We're ready to go. Let's go. Okay. So the first little bit of news is there for you that commute, but not a whole lot. 3 times a week would be the perfect number. Uber will pay you $1,000 to ditch your car for 5 weeks. Now, I saw this, and there's a lot of catches. They don't just give you $1,000 cash. It's Uber Cash, redeemable in the Uber app for car trips. And some of it is for other rentals or car shares, and others, another $300 for other transportations, which kind of stinks. Now, I went to try to apply for this, but there's another catch, is you have to also travel 3 days a week. And I don't go to the grocery store 3 times. But if this is you, it's out there. You just have to ditch your car for 5 weeks. All right, let's jump actually into security like we normally do. Lockbit lied. The stolen data is from a bank, not the U.S. Federal Reserve. I do believe this is... So last week we had talked about how Lockbit had claimed to talk about how they had breached the Federal Reserve. But it seems like more and more data is pointing that it's the American Bank and Trust. American Bank Evolve Bank and Trust. It's a weird name. They have admitted that there is an ongoing incident and that they're going to provide credit monitoring for those involved. Okay. Now, that is it for security. I actually didn't see that much else in security. There were some random things. Now, this next bit is a little bit about security. It's also a little bit of drama. So, security drama. But it's actually really important. So last November, I brought this up as a topic. So this is one of the reasons you should be sticking in or checking in on the news, because I bring these to you at the very beginning. But it's actually ongoing. So automatically replacing polyfill.io links with Cloudflare's Mirror for a safer internet. Now, I saw this and it caught my eye, and I was wondering what was going on with the future of this. And the weird thing is, this has Matthew, so the CEO. So like this has the authors are actually not just somebody from Cloudflare, but these are speaking from the highest authority from Cloudflare. And so I was reading through this because I was like, Cloudflare already started their own polyfill.io that you could use and you could replace instead of. And what they're doing now is basically putting it at your CDN level where you can just replace anything that accidentally goes to that. Now, if you're on the free account, it's automatic that you're going to hit this polyfill, Cloudflare's mirror of it. If you have a paid one, it's optional where you can disable it if you like. But after I saw this, though, my question was, why is this still a thing? Why are we still dealing with this? And well, it turns out that it's a little bit more involved than that because the saga continued. So Namecheap actually disabled polyfill.io. They said, hey, we can't use this anymore. Or their register said, we're not letting you register it again. And then they did polyfill.com. So they just registered polyfill.com. And they basically said they were blameless and the malware that was being spread wasn't their fault, per se. And it's like, okay, well, whatever. But the weird thing is polyfill.io continues to exist. And the other thing that you can see in here, one second, where is this? We have asked them to remove the false statement. So polyfill.io actually claims that it's protected by Cloudflare now. And Cloudflare is actually coming out and saying, we have asked them to remove the false statement, and they've ignored their request. So anyways, I guess the big warning is don't use polyfill. I looked at several other places to try to figure out exactly what's going on because, yeah, there's actually a bunch of different moving parts because now there's a polyfill.io, polyfill.com. The polyfill.com is the old owners of polyfill.io, which is polyfill.io is now owned by Null, a Chinese company. Anyways, the moral of the story, you probably shouldn't use polyfill.com or IO. Polyfill.com is probably better. I don't know. But yeah. This is the owner, the Andrew Betts of Polyfill. If you're using polyfill.io, remove it immediately. I created the Polyfill service, but have never owned the domain name and have no influence over its sale. Anyways, this was polyfill.io. I can't actually go to polyfill.io because my security for my family will block me from polyfill.io because it has ended up on a list. But yeah, there you can see what it says. Anyways, that's it for security and drama. Do you use polyfill? You might want to check out if you do, because what it was doing last I checked was actually filling in stuff that, if clicked, would redirect your users to bad sites. So don't use polyfill.io. I'm giving a little bit of a pause. I know that I don't give enough for comments or feedback. Did you guys see anything in security that I missed? All right. Well, we have some exciting open source news that I thought we would cover before we got into AI news and cloud news. So let's jump into that, because there was some things that happened in the open source community that I actually wasn't expecting. So yeah, this one blows my mind. And this one probably saddens some engineers. But let's get into it. SUSE upgrades its distros with 19 years of support. 19 years. So now, SUSE Enterprise Linux, or SLES, is going to allow you to run it for 19 years. So, 19 years of support. It's astounding. I don't have much more to say on it. Like, we could talk about some of the reasoning and whatnot, and 19 years. That's better than they have dethroned Microsoft. I think. How long was Windows XP supported? 12 years. I think if you were like an enterprise person, you got more. But SUSE is dethroning Microsoft for that top spot. There you go. You heard it first here, or at SUSECon, but whatever. All right, on top of this, following on this, which kind of makes their 12-year support seem a little bit laughable, Canonical expands Ubuntu Pro with a new distroless Docker image service offering 12 years of support. So we've talked about distroless. If you're confused about what the word distroless means, let me help inform you just a little bit. Distroless is basically a stripped down container with nothing included in it, or very little included in it. And that's the general. It's like serverless. It's a terrible name. I hate it. I made a YouTube video on how much I hate the word distroless. Because obviously Canonical, this is a Ubuntu distribution. So obviously it's an asinine word. Shouldn't be used. But they're providing a whopping 12-year support for this image, which is really good. Really, really good. And they're giving 12 years support, which is also really fantastic. It's not as good as 19 years, but 12 years of support is fantastic. So anyways, if you're wanting to, like this, actually though, I am excited about this because this actually gives you a fairly good base container with long-lasting support. And that's good. And a lot of this is going to go into like FIPS and FedRAMP and all of those things. So if you're trying to go and get one of those things, it's really important to have a good base container that has good long-term support. So anyways, that it happened. Let's move on. Mozilla fixes YouTube playback issues in Firefox. Now, I'm hoping that this means Firefox is getting just better. As you all know, I'm moving back to Firefox. We're trying some of the tab support. Hopefully the news will be back on Firefox here soon. But media has been a pain in Firefox. Media has just always not worked well. And so I'm hoping that they're actually putting some real work into Firefox media support, because that would be amazing. Amazing. I don't actually care about the YouTube related issues. Like these were just YouTube, but I mean, it's media across the board that has not worked well. Google is no longer supposedly. I put supposedly in there because like the only thing that linked here is this right here. Which I guess is pretty good. I guess. Materialize is focusing on supporting Google's large-scale internal Wiz framework, which has reassigned the engineers working on Material Web Components. This places the Material Web Components into maintenance mode. This is not deprecated or going away, but Material Design is no longer actively staffing its development. What does this mean? New features and components are no longer planned. GitHub PRs will not be accepted by default. Small PRs may be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Ongoing support will require volunteer time from the team. This is one of the things that I mentioned when companies were laying off a lot of people and things, is these types of open source projects, these corporate open source projects that everybody takes for granted, are going to be the things that get cut. And we've been seeing it as it. You should all just listen to me. It turns out to be correct. Anyways, yeah. So this is my guess is a direct thing of that. They're cutting staff and they're moving them away from things that aren't directly needed. Now, I would love to see the Wiz framework or whatever it is, UI framework that they're doing get released. But this doesn't mean this has to die. I think that the material design community, the Material Web Components, have a pretty large community. I think you guys could fork it. I don't know. Maybe there's not that many maintainers. But it doesn't mean, because it's an open source project, it doesn't mean it has to die this way. It doesn't have to go that way. Now, I don't know. I feel like it's also lost some of its support. I don't know if that's because of the huge tailwind kick that most people are on right now, but I'm not sure. Yeah, let's move on. Zeek, an open source and network traffic analysis security monitoring. That's a mouthful. Unlike an active security device like a firewall, Zeek operates as a versatile sensor that can be a hardware, software, virtual, or cloud platform. I actually like these types of things. So if you actually check out what Zeek is trying to be, it's just trying to monitor and react to a suspicious network activity. This is something I've said that statistical analysis and really advanced statistical analysis would be very good at. And I would actually love to see Zeek get more statistical analysis capabilities. So this is actually really cool. I like it. We're probably gonna have to play around with it on stream sometime. I'll have to see if somebody from the Zeek community would like to join me on stream, because I think that would be fun. Moving on, Glasscube 10 is out. If you don't remember what Glasscube is, Glasscube is Glasscube is a package manager. So you can kind of think of this as a Helm competitor. As my understanding goes, this is a Helm competitor. It's the next generation package manager for Kubernetes. Now, I'm keeping an eye on it. I haven't actually used it myself. It's trying to think about package management for Kubernetes slightly different than you might otherwise. But yeah, we'll keep watching it. Big release, I guess there was a lot of updates in this latest release, and so if you've been watching it, if you've been wanting to check it out, go check it out. Glasscube 11 or 0.11 is already out in beta. Yeah, go give it a shot. I just saw some of the stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. I will mention it again. And that's all I saw for open source stuff happening. There was some Kubeflow stuff. I didn't talk about the Kubeflow stuff. Kubeflow, I put I guess it's open source. I never know where to put this because I never know where to put this because I have it as part of the ML portion. But you know what? We're going to put it right here because it's part of the open source. So let's talk about Kubeflow really quickly. It's an open, community-driven project to make it easy to deploy and manage ML stacks on Kubernetes. Now, it was 1.8 up. The 1.9 release is coming out here soon. Where's Kubeflow? Kubeflow manifests. Wait. Maybe just right here. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So the 1.8 was released but the 1.9 is coming out. And when it does, we're going to try to install it on the Null Cloud's Kubernetes cluster because supposedly it's been made much, much easier. Like they've spent 1.8 to 1.9 was making it easier to actually run because if you guys have watched my channel, one of the big problems I've had with this is that it's almost impossible to run not on one of the major clouds. And supposedly that is being fixed. So we're going to have to give it a shot, see if we can't figure out a good way to run it locally. There have been about 12 different ways to run Kubeflow locally, and each one has died within like 6 months of it being the next way to run it locally. And so I just have not seen it yet, and we're going to keep an eye on it. All right. Did you guys see anything else in the open source world? All right. We can jump into ML, machine learning, statistical analysis at its finest. So the first thing in the ML world was the release of Chameleon. Chameleon was released by Meta, a more efficient, state-of-art generative model for text and images. So this is kind of a ChatGPT 4.0 competitor, a little multi-model, a little bit of fun. This was based off of a paper. There was a paper a while ago that I recommended you all to read. If you read it, you'll remember what I'm talking about. This model is based off of that. So this model does both text to image and image to text generation. So yeah, the fun part about this adds a little bit of drama. Well, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. What? Yeah. Anyways, the interesting thing was Zuckerberg himself, the good old boy, came out and basically said they're doing the best at developing this in public and the open. Now, it's not purely an open source as it is, but it is kind of open. Yeah, he kind of was pointing fingers at OpenAI. So anyways, haven't gotten to try it yet, but it's out there. Google has done anything unethical. Gemini changes its answer mid-sentence. This I found funny. Gemini just, when asked if they had done anything unethical, changed its answer, which is funny. I don't know if it's true. That's the only report that I found of it, so not sure. Okay, so in every hype cycle contains patterns of deceit emerge. In the last crypto boom, it was and rug pulls, Bonzomatics and rug pulls. In self-driving cars, it was just 5 years away. Actually, it was just next year. In AI, it's seen just how much unethical stuff you can get away with. Perplexity, which is ongoing talks to raise hundreds of millions of dollars, is trying to create a Google search competitor. Perplexity isn't trying to create a search engine, though. It wants to create an answer engine. The idea is that instead of combing through a bunch of results to answer your own question with a primary source, you'll simply get an answer Perplexity has found for you. Factfulness and accuracy is what we care about. That means that Perplexity is basically a rent-seeking middleman on high-quality sources. This is a big topic about this. This is what I have notoriously claimed is the biggest problem of AI right now. And I need to make a video on it because I don't think people understand this issue. And the fact is that search engines actually enabled, you wanted Google to index your website. You wanted Google to have your thing because it'll let people find your website. It let people find your content and it let people find it. Now, the problem with, and so it was an ecosystem that was in a state of yin and yang. There was these two groups that worked together. And the problem with AIs right now, as we have it, is they're consuming your data for free, not paying you anything for it, and not recommending people to your website. So they're basically consuming your hard work and trying to keep people from finding your stuff, which means less and less people will do it. More and more people will gate it behind a paywall. This makes people like the Times. I know the Times has been paywalled for over a year now, and it makes people like the Times seem brilliant. Why? Because it protects their content from the AIs. So this is a big topic. We need to make a video on it. We'll talk about this later with Vertex AI. We'll talk about that later. Oracle announced the industry first in database LLMs and an automated in database vector store with HeatWave Gen AI. This is not all accurate. There are other database vector stores, automated in database vector stores. I know of one company specifically that has an in database vector store. So this is a little bit of an overreach. Now, this might be an industry first in database LLMs. I don't know what they mean by that. I was reading the whole thing about how they were embedding these LLMs in the database. I am not quite entirely sure what they mean by that, but I will try to figure out. It's an interesting concept, I think. I'm not really sure. I feel like embedded LLMs in your database are like stored procedures. They're so nice, but you probably shouldn't use them. But just probably shouldn't use them. I don't know. This, I disagree with this. So I brought this up because people think that SUSE just got interested in AI. But as far back as 2020, when I was working for them, like literally I did a SUSECon thing on AI on SUSE. That was kind of some of the stuff that I was digging into and investigating. So SUSE has been participating in this for a while at this point. Just a little bit of a thing there. We're going to take an ad break really quickly. We're going to go ahead and run the ads, and then we'll get back to this. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? We're in the middle of ads right now, so we're waiting for that. As soon as these ads are done, we'll jump right back into it. All right. We're back. We're back. Let's talk about something, the most exciting thing I saw this week, which I'm kind of excited about. So, Hugging Face, about 2 years ago, made this AI platform, this AI leaderboard. And the problem with the AI leaderboard, in my opinion, was that it sucked. It didn't do anything to tell me what language models were better at programming or better in general. And this is why we've done our own AI games, is to get like a real world feel for it, which we try to do every 6 months or so. And so while the summer games are going to kick off, we're actually going to try to leverage the harder, better, faster, stronger, introducing the LLM leaderboard V2. So now, I don't know that harder is the better word here, because they're not actually more difficult. They're just less on training data. So if you go through here, they say that the models became too easy. I disagree with this. We can talk about why I disagree with that statement. But this is why they became too easy. So version 1 only used common benchmarking data, and number 2 actually contradicts number 1, unfortunately. And this is what we've seen and what I have stated all the time. By this, we mean that models were possibly trained on benchmark data or on data very similar to benchmark data. That means and we have seen this to be true, and a lot of models openly use half of the benchmark data or something like that out of all of these. And this is the problem with these things. As such, some scores stopped reflecting the general performance of the model and started to overfit for some evaluation datasets instead of reflecting the more general performance of the task being tested. This was in particular the case with these, which include... Anyways, I think this is true about just about all of them, unfortunately. So they have gone through and done a lot of reworking of the benchmarking tests. And so we'll see. Supposedly this skews it a little bit better so that there's a bigger difference between different LLMs. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. So this summer games, these summer AI games that we're holding, will be taking some of these and seeing what we can't glean from it. All right. And that was it for AI news. We're on to cloud news. Everybody ready for some spicy cloud news? Well, if you are a Cloudflare user, you would know that on June 20th, Cloudflare had two independent events caused an increase in latency and error rates from internet properties and Cloudflare services that lasted for 114 minutes. So it was a small, because like I said, about maybe at peak 2% of their HTTP request. Not great, but it's okay. But it happened. If you were a Cloudflare customer, yeah. Now, this seemed to be part of a denial of service or a DDoS attack, and I guess that they have deployed a new mitigation for that style of DDoS attack, because that's what caused this. This was actually a really good write-up, so I appreciate the detail that went into this write-up, so you can go check it out. The amount of detail is good. But yeah, they suffered a new type of DDoS attack, and they've put in mitigations for that style of DDoS attack to protect you and their own network. Yeah. So, but for 114 minutes, I actually think that's pretty cool. You have their systems are in place so that in 114 minutes, they can identify a new DDoS attack and come up with new mitigations to ensure that doesn't happen again. And that's pretty amazing, actually. That's pretty amazing. Embedded function calling in Workers AI is easier, smarter, and faster. I didn't get what was smarter about it, so you'll have to take their word on that. But it does sound like it's easier to use and faster. So they used to be a lot slower. We haven't used these yet. If you guys would like to use them on stream at some point and give them a shot, let me know. We can give it a shot. And then so this is a security report. I think that everybody should do this. I don't have the time to actually review this with you all, but the security report is actually a really good read because it gives a lot of info on the thing, the different things. And I know that we reviewed the 2023 security report. And I know that we've talked about the too many requests and some of the stuff that's on this, because they have released pieces of this as blog posts. But if you guys haven't read it, I would go ahead and read it. Let's talk about GCP. Let's talk about GCP. All right, GCP. That's not what this was. There wasn't a whole lot. But the cloud workers, connectors for AI, Google Sheets, and more. So we're going to actually talk about this. Probably should have talked about it, but there are adding connectors throughout the Google Suite for their AI stuff. So if you're embedded in Google a lot and use those things, it's going to be a lot easier to leverage their built-in connectors for their AI. So you can check out their available connectors. I can give you guys this link. And check it out for yourself. The thing that I was maybe most excited about is a new pricing calculator with more granular building. This is awesome because their pricing calculator has been terrible. If you're like trying to get like a rough idea of how some architecture or something would cost, GCP was way worse than AWS. I don't know how Azure's is, so I can't comment on that. But I can tell you that AWS's was way better than their old one. So I'm excited to try this out and see if it's a lot better. But it's out there, so you can try using it. Azure didn't have too much going on, but one thing that I did see is how Hollow Fiber Core is accelerating AI. If you guys are nerdy like me and love learning about this type of stuff, it's not just accelerating AI. That's like the buzzwords, but this is an interesting article on how Hollow Core AI is actually just accelerating network communications. Technology was developed to meet the heavy demands of workloads like AI and like I said, AI benefits from it, but it's any network intensive thing. It uses where light propagates in an air core, which has significant advantage over fiber cores with a solid glass core. So is that the structure and nested tubes which help reduce the unwanted light leakage and help the light going straight in a straight path through the core. So basically, this is the thing. The hollow fiber core allows you to put more information in it, and it moves faster, like 50% faster, with like quite a bit more data, which is really cool. So like, I think that this is it was a really cool, interesting read. You know what? I think it's awesome. If you don't like it, just stick around and we'll move on to this. Azure Updates is currently in maintenance, is undergoing maintenance. They haven't released anything since June 3rd. I think that's actually a lie, but it's just that this is not working. So I had to really dumpster dive for stuff. I did find one thing that looked interesting for you all in Azure is announcing the advanced container networking services for your Azure Kubernetes services clusters. So I'm going to post this. They have changed their website around a little bit, but if you're using their AKS, their Azure Kubernetes service, they have more advanced networking. And the last thing in Azure is Azure waves goodbye to underwater data centers. So I think it was in 2019, 2020 when Azure dumped a whole bunch of these containers with networks or with data centers in them. And they have basically brought them all up and they're done. It was an experiment, and it was an interesting experiment that seems to have worked really well. So they said that right now they have no intents of submerging any more data centers. Yeah, they had 1/8 of the failure rates of data centers with the same components on land. One of my guesses is while the components failed less, you can't replace them, right? They're submerged. They're there. That is what they are. Like, that's it. So my guess is that was one of the struggles and issues there. But the nitrogen-filled environments and the cool environments seemed to protect those much better because they don't need oxygen. So it was really cool. We've been watching it. Let's move on. Amazon ECR supports Open Container Initiative Image and Distribution Specification version 1.1. So the version 1.1 has been out for a while now, right? I meant to look this up and I didn't. I have failed my job. I have failed you all. When did this come out? I want to say it was coming out last year, but I forgot to check it out. When did this come out? Yeah. Okay. We announced the release. I was gonna say it was sometime last year, July 21st. Cool. So it's a little behind the times, but it is out there for supply chain security. It's out there. ECR now supports it. ECR is their the Elastic Container Registry. So this is their container registry, and it now supports it. And that was it for Cloud News. Did you guys see anything else? All right. Well, there's only... I have two pieces of general tech news that I thought would be interesting to you all that I'm kind of excited about. Intel claims its optical interconnect chiplet technology is going from using horse-drawn carriages to using cars and trucks. So basically, they've done some fiber optic chiplet stuff, and they're saying that this new stuff that they're working on is really the big game changer that we've all been looking for. Guess what? 2028, Apple reverts to using Intel. What a news headline. 2028, we can see it. Probably this will be targeting data centers, any of the technology that's going to happen. It would be a much longer time before it ever hit any consumer type of thing. But yeah, I find this to be really interesting. Again, can deliver 4 terabytes per second, terabits per second, probably a little b, of bandwidth from 100 meters away. That is actually pretty blazing fast. Types team update. This is from Rust on June 26th. Pretty fantastic. This is just an update because they announced last year, they announced the types team, which is going to look into types issues. As some of you may know, the Rust type system is not perfectly complete yet. And there are some known bugs. One of the things that I learned from this was that they actually keep a Trello board of the different types of bugs and things that are out there that they're working on. This is actually really cool and really fantastic that I'm super excited about. So that's one thing that I learned from reading this blog. You guys should also read it if you have not. Here is the link. So it just goes on to some of the work that they're doing, and it's work that I'm excited about. It's work that I am excited about. So go check it out. And that's it for me for today. When Dynamic Rust. Thanks for joining, Russell. Thanks for joining. You did end right at the end. Nobody joined today. I hope everybody's okay. I think they probably watched that Cat Muffin, you also Future Highway. Thank you for lurking. You were the one viewer. That's fantastic. I appreciate it. Making the most out of the nice summer in the UK. I hope that's what everybody was doing. That's awesome. Keep it up. If everybody was taking a quick walk, fantastic. This is recorded on YouTube, so if you guys don't know, there is, I don't do anything with them, but there is this here, youtube.com/NullLabsLive. You can go here, and all of these are recorded, so if you want to go through and watch them, they're also recorded on Twitch, but they only keep them for 14 days, so you have 14 days on Twitch. You're more than welcome to go back and check them out. 3 weeks of nice weather, then back to rain. Oh, sounds about like us. Except it's like 3 weeks of nice weather. It goes from raining to nice weather to scorching hot and unbearable. But anyways. I really did like this types team update and roadmap. Go check out the roadmap. I was really excited about this, so I've been lurking a little bit here. But yeah. All right, I'm going to let you all get going. Thank you guys for joining me. Thanks, Cat Muffin, Future Highway, Russell. You three are legends. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys joining. You know what? We're going to get an AI to help us find news articles, and we're going to create our own web crawler, and then we're going to train an AI to select things that we like. It maybe will make this better. Maybe it will make it worse. We'll find out. And hopefully we can continue bringing useful news to you all. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.